Logan Paul is taking over the world, and not even in the goofy, self-absorbed way that all YouTubers do. No, this kid from Ohio is legit. It's going viral for all the right reasons now. Like when he main evented WrestleMania, or when he body slammed Ricochet off the top rope, or when he won the United States Championship. The kid is living out every little kid's dream, and we are here for it. It wasn't until the 6th grade that Logan would really come into his own. In fact, while attending high school, he was voted most likely to become famous by his classmates. But Logan didn't care about any of that. Just a few months later, Vine would shut down. But luckily for Logan, he had already established a huge social media presence and had over 30,000 followers on Instagram, 1 million followers on Twitter, and over 2 million subscribers on YouTube. That is when Logan decided to take things to the next level by challenging fellow YouTube sensation Jake Paul to a boxing match? Not even close. On September 28, 2018, Logan would shock the entire internet when he announced that he was signing with WWE. In fact, during his first match, many people were accusing him of being a legitimate professional wrestler in disguise. Unfortunately for those conspiracy theorists, Logan would lose his first 2 matches. But Logan didn't care. He was exactly where he needed to be. He was learning from the best, and he was doing it in front of millions of people. More specifically, he was going to be joining forces with his childhood hero, The Rock. What makes him different from all the other YouTubers trying to make it in the wrestling industry? He doesn't care what people think of him. He's just out there living life on his own terms. And that's why Logan Paul is going to be a star for many years to come. Well, it helps that Logan is a huge wrestling fan. Or check out this video on who is the richest WWE superstar. He's been watching it since he was a kid. But it's also because he's willing to put in the work. While other YouTubers are out there partying and having fun, Logan is in the gym training and improving. He knows that to be successful in this business, you have to put in the work. And he's willing to do whatever it takes. In the process, he would also become the first person to pin KSI in a professional wrestling match. Over the next 2 years, Logan would continue to hone his craft, competing in several high-profile matches, feuds, and even winning the NXT Tag Team Championships alongside The Miz. It was a huge upset. But Logan proved that he was more than deserving of the championship. He would go on to defend the title successfully several times before dropping it to the aforementioned Roman Reigns. Despite the loss, Logan's stock has never been higher. He is currently one of the most popular members of the WWE roster. And he's only getting started. But something was still missing. Now, if you don't know much about pro wrestling, you probably think this was a bad move. That night, he would team up with his brother Jake to take on The Rock and his son, The Rock Jr., in a tag team match. The match was brutal, back and forth, and came down to the wire. But in the end, Logan and Jake would come out on top. Afterwards, The Rock would approach Logan and offer him a spot in the WWE Hall of Fame. It was a huge honor, but Logan declined. Instead, he had his eyes set on one thing: becoming a singles champion. After all, The Rock is one of the most famous and successful wrestlers of all time. What could Logan possibly bring to the table? Well, as it turns out, a lot. If their first fight was a success, this one would be a failure. Every bit as good. The fight would be watched by over 1 billion people across the globe and gross over $30 million in revenue, making it one of the most successful combat sports events of all time. Jake would win the match by split decision. But Logan wasn't angry. In fact, he was ecstatic. Everything was going according to plan. He was blowing up on social media, and now the entire world knew who Logan Paul was. With that kind of reach, Logan didn't need Vine anymore. In fact, if anything, it just gave him more freedom. Now he could focus on growing his other platforms, and grow they did. By the end of 2017, he would have over 10 million followers on Instagram, 13 million followers on Twitter, and 15 million subscribers on YouTube. His goal was always bigger than that. And Logan knew that to achieve his goals, he needed to leave home. Luckily for him, he had an opportunity to do just that. On November 25, 2017, Logan would get his first taste of mainstream attention. That night, he would team up with fellow Vine star and close friend KSI to take on the British YouTubers Joe Weller and Deji Olatunji in a boxing match. The event was called the Creator Clash, and it sold out in just 48 hours. But the fight itself was even better. It was brutal, bloody, and ended in a TKO victory for Logan and KSI. That's when he started attending events hosted by the Midwest Institute of Electronic Arts, aka the MIA. The MIEA was a performing arts school that taught kids everything they needed to know about acting, singing, dancing, comedy, and everything else that went into being a true performer. It was basically Hogwarts but for performers. And Logan soaked up everything they had to teach him. But how did he get here? How did he go from skinny, awkward kid to viral YouTube sensation to global pro wrestling superstar? We made it our mission to find out. So let's take a look at how Logan Paul became the biggest name in the world. We start our story in the great state of Ohio, Cleveland specifically, where on April 26, 1995, Logan Paul was born. There's not much known about Logan's early life. In fact, Logan himself has been pretty tight-lipped about it. But we do know that he grew up in Westlake, Ohio, a suburb of Cleveland. And we know that he always had a passion for performing. From the time he could walk, he was putting on shows. At one point, he was even named class clown by his classmates. But make no mistake, there was nothing clownish about Logan Paul. All he wanted to do was make people laugh. In fact, if you look at any footage of Logan from his school days, you can tell he was just an awkward middle schooler trying to find his place in the world, just like all of us. By the time he finished middle school, Logan had already started his own YouTube channel, launched his own website, and was gaining a small following around Ohio for his comedic stunts. So after graduating high school, Logan packed up and moved to LA, but something was missing. As much as Logan loved making videos with his friends and hanging out on the internet, he still felt like he had something to prove. Over the next year, Logan would continue to grow his social media presence and box some more, which brings us to the summer of 2018. But he wasn't done yet. From the moment he stepped foot in the ring, it was clear that Logan was a natural. On May 11, 2019, Logan would finally pick up his first victory, defeating his longtime rival, fellow YouTuber KSI. On February 27, 2021, Logan would get his big break, and he wouldn't have to wait long. On March 2022, Logan would cash in his briefcase and become the new United States champion. In fact, if you ask anyone who knows him, they'll tell you that Logan is just getting warmed up. But why? Why is Logan Paul so successful? Finally, it's because Logan isn't afraid to speak his mind. Now, if you thought that was crazy, check out this video on the crazy truth behind the most Googled WWE superstar of all time.